Namaskara.
Meghna, this is my cousin Meghna.
So I'm told you are the person behind the food here.
Yes.
She takes a lot of pride in it, from her ajji to her mother. Yeah,
Her mother, so that's how it came along. And
yeah, over generations, yeah.
So ಇದು ನಿಮ್ದು ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಊಟ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
This is the main actually.
So this is like a biryani ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಪಲಾವ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ?
Palav.
Palav. Okay.
Mutton curry.
Oh.
Chops, mutton chops. This is the main, it goes combination with the biryani. This is mushroom biryani.
Mushroom biryani.
Yes.
And now for some of that mamsa. If you ask me, that meat in this is a bonus. When you taste that gravy, that saru itself conveys to your palate all that it needs to convey. It's absolutely delicious. So a few months ago, I received this message on Instagram from this family that were doing interesting food that went back to recipes that were handed down generations. But unfortunately, we couldn't look at it then because this was a cloud kitchen. And as you know, we rarely ever cover cloud kitchens. But then a few months later, the cloud kitchen remained, but they also shifted to a tiny little enterprise where they also serve walk-in customers. So that's where we've arrived today. We've arrived at Kutumba in RMV second stage on New Bel Road, where I'm hoping to taste some interesting uta. Let's go. Well, this restaurant is tiny. I think it's more like an alley with 5 tables and each table can only seat 2. Namaskara.
Hello, Mr. Kripal, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
How old is this restaurant?
So we're just about a year old now. We started as a cloud kitchen. And
Okay.
now we just set this up about 6 months back.
6 months ago.
Yeah, so it's a small 10-seater. We have a kitchen upstairs.
Okay.
And we'll be expanding that into a 60-seater, so we can go have a look at that space.
This may be the tiniest restaurant that I've ever stepped in, but it's not really about the space. I think it's more about what goes on the menu, right? It's about the food.
So it's all Karnataka cuisine. I mean, so the recipes are all of our family, like who hail from Mysuru, Mandya, Bangalore. So my cousin sister and I, we started this.
What's her name?
Meghna.
Meghna.
Yeah. The recipes are all of our families, our great grandmothers.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So let's go to the kitchens here at Kutumba. And you know, I always like to take a look at what's cooking even before I sit down for my meal.
Yeah.
Should we go upstairs?
Sure. So this
Namaskara.
is Meghna. This is my cousin Meghna. Who is
So I'm told you are the person behind the food here.
Yes.
she takes a lot of pride in it. So,
Wonderful. And this is your family here.
Yeah, this is my family, my mother.
Namaskara. What's your name, ma'am?
Vijay Lakshmi.
Lovely, lovely meeting you. So I read in the Instagram message that you sent me,
Right.
a lot of the recipes go back
Yes.
a few generations in your family.
Correct.
From her ajji to her mother. Yeah.
Her mother, so that's how it came along. And
Yeah. Over generations, yeah.
So ನಿಮ್ದು ಊರಲ್ಲಿ?
ನಮ್ಮೂರು ತುಮಕೂರು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಫಾದರ್
but Hassan.
ಹಸ್ಬೆಂಡ್ ಹಾಸನ್
ಹಾಸನ್.
ಮದರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಕಡೆಯವರು ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್
Bangalore.
ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು, ಹಾಸನ್, ಮೈಸೂರು.
Yes.
So that is where the
correct,
food comes from.
Correct.
ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂಚೂರು ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ
Fantastic.
Slightly you will alter or some taste or something. Yeah, that's how it is.
I've just entered this kitchen. Already there is that aroma. I know that something delicious has been cooking, and this is the rest of the family.
Yes. My brother.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
and wife.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಸೊ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಎಂಟರ್ಪ್ರೈಸ್
Yes,
ತರ.
yes.
ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಆಪ್ಟ್ ನೇಮ್ ಕುಟುಂಬ.
Yes, correct.
ಸೊ ಇದು ನಿಮ್ದು
It's-
ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಊಟ.
ಹೌದು.
ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂತು ನಿಮಗೆ?
Like friends and families, they love our food, our cuisine, everything.
Okay.
So that's how the passion started. Oh, why can't you start a kitchen?
Kitchen.
Or, yeah. Then even I had an interest towards cooking. Amanna help ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ when I was young. Then I got married. Then from there, my husband's place is Mysore. So that is also slightly a part of it. And my mother's cooking. So all is a mixture of Bangalore, Mysore, around
And they also
Hassan,
moved in Karnataka.
Bangalore, Hubli,
To
Dharwad,
Hassan
all places.
ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ
So
ಎಲ್ಲ
that
ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ
cuisine-
ಕೆಲವು ಬಗೆ
Yes.
ಜೋಡಿಸಿ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಮೆನ್ಯೂ.
Correct.
Fantastic. And what were you doing before you began this?
I was a homemaker.
You were a homemaker.
I'm a homemaker.
Okay. So of course we heard from Kutumba Kitchen
Yes.
a year ago, and they had written to us on Instagram expressing their philosophy and what they were trying to do. But because it was a cloud kitchen and we don't cover cloud kitchens, we couldn't really look at it. Although the menu looked very interesting then, andre adu mamsa, pulav, and I think you had written about your Mysuru style pulav. And
Nati koli saru, maybe biryani, chops or palav or kal soup. All these are from the home, and yeah, it's quite authentic, I can say. Yeah.
So although they've written to us and we've had conversations with them over the phone trying to understand a little more about the food, which is what you need to do, especially when an eatery has not been around for too long. The visit today is a bit of a surprise. We just said, okay, let's land
Thank
and
you.
see what's cooking.
Kal soup.
Kal soup.
Yes.
So it's a small portion.
So I make batches so that it will be fresh.
Are you the one cooking?
I am the one who cooking. I have assistants, so yeah, they'll help me.
So every day you're cooking.
Every day I'm cooking.
Fantastic.
This is the main actually.
So this is like a biryani ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ palav ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ?
Palav.
Okay. So what is special about this palav?
The mix, what I grind the paste, what I make,
Okay.
that is, gives the more flavor, I think.
So when you say a paste, what is the paste about?
Paste about chilies and all the ginger, garlic. All
Okay.
those, with a little of coriander and mint leaves, all those.
And this is a siraga sambar, the jeera sambar rice.
Jeera sambar. This is chicken.
So again similar masala. isn't it?
Yes, similar masala, but the different rice.
This is a basmati rice.
Basmati rice. Mutton curry.
Oh. Sheep or goat?
This is sheep.
All sheep meat.
All sheep.
And what is here?
Chicken. Actually, nati koli is our speciality since we do only on Sundays.
Oh, okay. So you have broiler ಇದೆ.
Broiler. Today is broiler.
So koli curry.
Koli curry.
Fantastic. So is there a lot of coconut that goes into this thing? Base of this?
Base of this coconut.
Okay.
Yeah, chili powder and a little different chili powder.
Okay, and then the coriander and the garlic.
Yes, and pepper.
Pepper.
And more of garlic in this. The garlic, I think it gives a nice taste to the chicken curry.
Okay.
And pepper. For that mutton curry, I add tomato. Tomatoes won't be added in the chicken curry.
Yeah, and why is that?
I don't know, it gives a good taste. I feel the...
ಆ ಥರ ಅಮ್ಮವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಾ?
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟೇಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ.
Tomato gives that a little sour bit kind of
acidity.
yes. So but we need for chicken we don't add
You
tomatoes.
don't add.
No, we don't add.
So these are recipes that you learned from your mother.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಇವ್ರು ಕಲ್ತಿರೋ.
ಇವ್ರು ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದು.
It's all registered in mind, kind of.
It's all registered in mind.
Registered, yeah. How I cook at home, it's the same way I cook. Nothing, no adding sodas or something, no, nothing artificial or anything. Whatever is there, same thing I do it here.
Fantastic. I can see some dry coconut.
For biryanis I add, and for the chops.
Oh, you add coconut in the biryani?
Yes, I add coconut. When I'm doing the masala, the wet masala, that time I add this.
So along with
dry
the ginger,
coconut.
garlic, mint, chilies, coriander, etc.
And sometimes in biryanis, the proportionate of the ginger garlic is different from the curry. So there is slight variation. In chops, maybe garlic is more.
In the chop.
And the chops and even the dry coconut. So it is all the slight measurements are
Slight measurements are different.
Yes, yes,
and these
different.
are family recipes.
Yeah, family.
Heirloom recipes that I'm sure she's holding very close to her heart.
True. Chops, mutton chops.
Ah.
This is the main, it goes combination with the biryani.
That chop certainly looks very good. Huh? What do you serve the chops with?
Chops with idli, dosa. At home, we love to have with akki roti or idli, dosa. That's the best combination I can say. Or with biryani.
Mutton biryani and chops.
Yeah. Yes.
That sounds like a combination that even I want to try.
Yes.
This is what your chicken ghee roast.
Chicken ghee roast.
So this of course is part of your cloud kitchen.
Right, yes.
Ghee roast recipe ellinda adu?
Because we were in Bangalore and traveled, so maybe that is also one thing. I love seafood and
So wherever you would go, you would kind of try and assimilate the dishes from that region.
Yes. This is the ghee roast paste I make in a bulk.
In
so
bulk.
That it can be used for chicken and veg like paneer and for mushroom. So even once we start with the seafood, maybe prawns. So this all the paste will be used for the one. It's a base of the paste.
So your red chilies, your coriander.
Coriander, jeera,
Jeera,
peppercorns.
Is there tamarind in that?
Yes,
There is some tamarind in that. What about jaggery?
Jaggery, yes.
To balance things out a bit.
Balance everything. You have to cut down the spice level from the badgim chilies.
Fantastic. So basically a lot of the dishes that you do are from your time or your family's time in different parts of Karnataka.
Correct.
From what I see.
Yes.
Whether it's that palav which is a little Mysore style or let's say a ghee roast that comes from Bengaluru.
Yes.
And some Bengaluru based dishes as well.
This is mushroom biryani.
Mushroom biryani.
Yes.
I can see the mushroom, I can see some cardamom.
Star anise.
This is certainly a very aromatic sort of a biryani. I can also see there's some mace as well that goes into it.
Mace, yes.
I can smell more the aromas of the garam masala ingredients. Whereas in the mutton and the chicken it was not so much.
Yes,
it's the flavor of the meat.
Flavor of the meat and the chicken.
And the chicken and then the garlic, the ginger and all of that goes in.
Few of the things we get from our farm. From our farm.
What
things? Like coconut, dry coconut, and even the meat. We are planning right now. Yes, farm is in Holenarsipura, Hassan district. Hassan district. This is my mother's.
Main thing andre coconut,
dry coconut and ginger. Yes, main from our farm to the plate sort of concept. Maybe in the dine-in later on.
Farm to the plate sounds a little westernized. I think Illi it's a case of Kutumba to the plate.
Even the ghee also from the farm.
So same ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಬಟರ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ಘೀ ಮಾಡಿ.
So farm ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಸು ಇದೆಯಾ? The cows.
Yes.
ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಬಟರ್ ತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಘೀನ.
So ಇದು ಹೋಗುದು ghee roast ನಲ್ಲಿ.
The ghee roast and the biryani is also some of.
Badam halwa ali?
Definitely badam halwa. It's a must. This is my dodamma.
This is your
my mother's
dodamma?
sister. Elder sister.
So some of the recipes are from also.
Yes. She is also excellent. Mutton curry and
the mutton curry that we saw is inspired by her. Nimdu hesaru madam?
ವಸಂತ.
Lovely. So I think if I spend more time here, I'll meet the entire family.
Everybody stays close by. Everyone.
Wonderful. I think you cannot go wrong with a concept like this. Make sure that you have a family where everyone is an accomplished cook and then cajole them for a recipe each and then put it together in a menu. Lovely. I can't wait to go down and taste some of what this Kutumba has to offer.
Here is going to be about a 60-seater.
So when is this going to happen?
December is what we're looking at.
Oh really? Yeah. So I guess if you're watching this post December, they will also have a eatery here on the rooftop.
Yes, sir. So we would recommend the mutton palav
Okay.
and the chops, which is a great combination. I think both goes really well. Thatte idli you can try.
Okay, we'll do thatte idli.
With the chicken curry.
Okay. There's an egg ghee roast that you have on the
Yeah.
menu.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
we'll try the chicken 64. The 64
which
is
is the
the
bone.
65 minus the bone.
Yes, yeah.
We've got the chicken 64, we've got the chops,
Yeah.
we've got the chicken curry, we've got the mutton pulao,
Right.
and we've got some thatte idli coming. Right?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So, well, the menu here is fairly compact. There are, I think, all of about 5 or 6 things, or 7 or 8 things on the vegetarian side, but that also includes things like the thatte idli, the dosa, the akki roti, the puri sagu, the ghee rice, etc. On the non-vegetarian side, there's an egg ghee roast that I see right here, some chicken chili, there's a 64, 65, there's the curries, chops, some keema, and of course the biryanis. Fairly short, focused menu. And I think a menu like this serves to highlight the dishes that each member of the family is good at. What was heartening for me when I went into the kitchen was to meet the family members. They did not know that I was coming, so some of the family members were already here, and because Varun, our cinematographer, landed about half an hour before I landed here, some of the others came in too. But it's very easy to tell that the recipes that they do, that the food that they do, is a sort of food that they would perhaps be preparing in their homes, and that's what they're seeking to serve in this eatery here. So when you come here, don't go by the space in terms of where you're seated, but the place where they cook is quite nice and airy. In fact, it's a fairly large kitchen for the tiny restaurant that this is. But that's also because it serves as a cloud kitchen, so I'm told you can order online. What's interesting is that there is no stairway between the kitchen, which is located on the terrace, and this eatery here, which is on the ground floor. So there's a little box that functions as an elevator that carries the food from upstairs and brings it all the way down. So they've put this concept together on the basis of the strengths, and when they evolved this into an eatery, into this tiny restaurant, they've managed to do so using whatever resources at hand. Mutton pulao, chicken 64, badam halwa. So you also get a complimentary serving of the badam halwa. I'm told it's given to every diner here. So this is a chicken 64. So this, I'm told, is a boneless version of the 65. There's plenty of curry leaves that I can see here, crispened curry leaves. Some garlic in there as well. So this is for all of rupees 120. So I think the prices here too are the sort that aren't over the top. And this is their mutton pulao, which is served along with the gravy and some mysuru bhaji. I think let's go for some of that chicken 64. A bit of the crispness that comes from that batter, which obviously has a little bit of cornstarch in there. The chicken is nice and moist, seasoned all the way through. Akki roti and chops, oh wonderful. And these are those soft Malnad style akki rotis, huh? So when you come here, be prepared for a dining experience that's very casual, because after all, this is an enterprise that's run by a family. So it's run in the manner that a family would, right? So if you go to someone's home and you're eating a meal, so the dishes will come in the order as they're prepared. And I think that's what's happened as well. So the pulao, of course, is already ready. So it came to us first with that chicken 64. And I'm sure as soon as that soft akki roti was prepared, the chops was dispatched from the kitchen to my table. The roti is soft, and I'm sure would be wonderful to scoop up that chops gravy. Oh, that's delicious. That chops gravy is absolutely delicious. There's a fair bit of the graininess of the coconut that I can taste in there. The heat that comes from the green chili somewhere. I'm sure there's also plenty of greens that go into it in terms of the coriander, perhaps some mint as well. But that is a delicious masala. That's so good. And now for some of that mamsa, some of that chops. That meat is pink and moist. If you ask me, that meat in this is a bonus. When you taste that gravy, that saru itself conveys to your palate all that it needs to convey. It's absolutely delicious. And I love the fact that because it's got the grated dry coconut, you're tasting the character of the coconut, both in terms of its flavor and also its grainy texture to the very end. And I think the akki roti makes for a great combination because this isn't really a saru, it's a thickish sort of a gravy. So the akki roti works well to scoop up that masala into its folds. The very second dish that we tasted here, and we've already found our pot of gold. The kebab or the chicken 64 was nice, well made, pleasant. While you tasted it, it was good. But this is a sort of dish that will leave behind a lasting impression. And I love the manner in which that meat has been cooked. There is of course that fat as well, but all that fat is soft, almost a sort of texture that melts quite readily in your mouth. Oh, that's delicious. My only gripe with that chop, when it gets over in a hurry. Before you know it, you're done with the meat and all that you have remaining is that masala, which in my opinion isn't a bad thing at all. What a delicious find. I can taste the spiciness of that green chili. I can taste a bit of the pungency that comes from garlic. Spectacular. The sort of dish where you're greedily looking for flecks of meat and fat within the crevices of the bone. So good. Ghee roast and thatte idli. Well, out here, the kitchen will send dishes in the order that they deem fit and perhaps in the combinations that they deem fit. So ideally, this thatte idli, which is bisi, I think it's just been steamed, would be served with a curry. But we've got the ghee roast, the egg ghee roast for company. Not that I'm complaining in the least. Well, the kal soup has also found its way to our table. I am tasting in this more the nourishing savory flavors of the bone and also the goodness that comes from some of the fat from that trotter that has seeped into the broth. There's plenty of curry leaves in this, also strands of onions that serve to fortify the broth. And somewhere in the back of my throat, I can now perhaps detect a hint of the pepper. This is also the sort of kal soup that would make for a great medium to dunk that thatte idli in. The idli is soft. There's a hint of tartness that I detect in that somewhere. I can also taste somewhere the flavor of the banda. I think the idli definitely needs something a little more robust in its flavors. We've ordered for the chicken curry, but until then, this mutton saru will do just fine. Let's get to that ghee roast. This is a motte ghee roast, the egg ghee roast. You also have the option of ordering, I think, some paneer, some mushroom, and also of course the chicken. We've chosen to do the egg. There's certainly a fair bit of sweet jamminess that I can taste in that ghee roast. You know, when it comes to things like the ghee roast, I think every cook or every creator will have their own recipe. I can certainly taste in this the sweetness that comes from jaggery. There's also the warmth that I'm tasting from the red chili. There's also plenty of onions in this, some curry leaf. So I think this is not a typical Bangalore style ghee roast, but a ghee roast whose recipe has been worked on, tweaked on to suit I guess, the taste of the family or perhaps even the customers who frequent here. There's also a bit of the caramel sort of jamminess that I'm tasting from the onions that have gone into that ghee roast. So typically when you're tasting a ghee roast, you don't really bite too much into the slivers of onions, but out here you're doing so. And there's also plenty of curry leaf that you're also tasting in that ghee roast. Some boiled egg that's been tossed with that ghee roast paste. Also a fair bit of the chili heat that I'm tasting in that ghee roast. So the dominant flavors in this is the sweetness of the jaggery and then the heat that comes from the chilies. That's really what I'm tasting. Definitely the sort of flavors that compel me to reach for the idli just to soothe my palate a bit. Chicken curry. I think what I've enjoyed very much thus far are the flavors of the masala. That chops masala was a winner, and this chicken curry too packs in a flavorful punch. If I remember correctly, they spoke about plenty of garlic going into this. And I think that garlic does well to fortify that curry. Because chicken after all, and especially when it comes to broiler chicken, doesn't have too much of its own flavor to bring to that preparation. So I think that's where that garlic helps add in a bit of that extra punch to that curry. So I think if I were to visit their home, this is exactly the sort of preparation that I would be tasting. The meat is cooked well and has absorbed the flavors of that masala. You know these are not those jhatka curries. You know these are curries that have simmered slowly, soaking up that masala, soaking up the flavor of all the ingredients. The winners for me so far, definitely that mutton chop. I think when you come here, you cannot miss it. And also that chicken curry. That chicken curry with that idli. With a mutton chop, I think that akki roti makes for a great partner, a great staple, because that has a thick gussi and that akki roti does well to scoop it up rather nicely. And in the chicken curry, well, you need something that can soak into that curry, drink up all the juices and convey them to your mouth. Next, we're going to go for that mutton palav. But I've already eaten some of the other dishes, so I don't want to be too greedy. Maybe just help myself to a piece of the meat. So how many pieces of meat go with it? Two pieces of meat. That palav, the rice is warm inside. Of course, it was the first dish that arrived on our table, and then subsequently the others trooped in. So therefore this palav has cooled down a bit. Even as I raise that scoop of rice, I can already smell some of the aromats. You know, I think every cook or every creator has their own recipe, has their own proportion of spices that go in. So although the spices may be common, but you will always find, if you look hard, you will find certain nuances. So for instance, in this pulao, I can certainly smell the flavor of the mace that greets my olfactory senses right away. The good taste of a biryani or a pulao, place it in your mouth and you should feel like you need nothing else. That's exactly what I'm feeling as I place this scoop of rice in my mouth. You can taste the warming notes of the hard spices, a little bit of the sprightly freshness that comes from the coriander. There is the heat, but the heat is rather mellow, is rather subdued. There's also a hint of sweetness somewhere that perhaps comes from the braised onions. And this is the short grain rice. This is the jeera sambar rice that they use to make the pulao here. That rice has soaked up all the flavors, all the juices that the meat brings to that pot. I can taste a hint of smokiness somewhere in that meat. I'm not sure where that comes from. But when you eat a pulao where the rice and the meat is mixed together and then cooked, what tends to happen is that the rice takes away all the meaty juices of the meat. So therefore, when you taste the meat by itself, it may perhaps seem a tad too mellow, a tad too gentle. So therefore, always combine little morsels of the meat with the rice to make for a complete flavorful bite. You want that mamsa and that anna to sing to your palate, almost as if performing a duet. I think my vote of all the dishes that I've tasted is definitely the chops is number one for me, followed closely by that palav and also that chicken curry. That rice is supremely flavorful. And like they say in this, uppu kara perfect in there. There's also a bit of the charbi, the fat that you see in the meat, in that piece of meat. And this is more the Mysore style pulao. So out there, that Mandya Mysuru belt, they like a bit of that charbi, they like a bit of that fat in their curry, in the sheep. I've tasted 5 dishes here, but I'm not feeling weighed down in the least. And that's quite typical to the sort of food that you would taste at someone's home. So if you want to savor a delicious Karnataka meal, which picks on influences from different parts of the state, cooked lovingly by a family, definitely find your way to Kutumba Kitchen here in New Bel Road. So for now, the restaurant is small, they only have 10 seats, but the good news is that they're available for order online, and also hopefully in a few months, they'll shift to a larger premises right up here on the terrace. So I hope you've enjoyed this rather tasty, rather homely episode of Gourmet on the Road. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, stay strong, and happy eating. Well, I was about to leave, but Meghna said you haven't tasted the
taste this badam
complimentary badam halwa. There's also strands of saffron that I'm seeing there. Idu yaar madudu?
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡೋದು.
Newer madudu?
Yes, yes, ಇಲ್ಲೇ.
ಬಾದಾಮ್ ಗರಿ ಗರಿ ಇದೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಖೋವಾ
Khova.
ತುಪ್ಪ. So what is the ratio of the khova to the tuppa to the badam?
2:2, then yeah, and ghee is one portion.
So 2 badam, 2 khova.
Khova and yeah.
And what I like here is that ನಿಮ್ದು ಬಾದಾಮ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗರಿ ಗರಿ ಇದೆ. You get that badam on the bite, and I can also taste there's plenty of saffron that goes into it.
Saffron, yes, saffron
Mm.
and milk a bit.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, this is delicious.
Yeah, thank you.
So ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
No, initially we were giving. If it is a combo, we give complimentary, or else they order 100 grams. There's a box, so we give in a container.
Very nice. So come here, order the combo. ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಾದಾಮ್ ಹಲ್ವಾ ಕೂಡ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಹೌದು.
Fantastic. Well, all that we tasted, the mutton biryani, the chicken curry, the kal soup, the egg ghee roast, the chicken 65, the mutton chop, all for a sum of 819 plus 180 rupees. Well, the dishes that we tasted are good enough to feed 2 people with a very large appetite and 3 people with normal appetites. So definitely the sort of place that leaves behind an impression on your palate, but thankfully isn't too heavy on the pocket. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Food Lovers TV, do consider joining our membership community on YouTube by hitting the join button below or on the home page. You could pledge a nominal sum and receive special privileges like behind the scenes footage, shoot updates, access to live Q&As, and a lot more. You could support us on our Patreon page as well. For more info, check out the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment below. Happy eating.